Hello, Weston Baptist Chapel. Thank you for joining us as we continue our journey down the Via Dolorosa. Today we pick up in Matthew chapter 5, beginning at verse 19. So, if you ignore the least commandment and teach others to do the same, you will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But anyone who obeys God's laws and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. But I warn you, unless your righteousness is better than the righteousness of the teachers of religious law and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. These are powerful verses. If you decide some of God's rules are not that important and teach others to think the same way, then God will put you at the bottom of his kingdom. There are a few simple rules that people tend to consider are unimportant. Giving, saying tithing is not important, that taking 10% and giving it to God is not necessary. Not forgiving people who deeply hurt them, saying it is too hard. Not taking care of the poor, saying there are too many to help. Divorce, God hates it, but we accept it. Keeping a Sabbath rest, we're just too busy, too much work to take a day of rest. Jesus is saying that people who do their best to obey God's laws, they will never make it into God's kingdom. The only way we get in is by faith, putting our trust in Jesus as the only one who fulfilled the law. Ask God to open our eyes to see where we are coming up short here. Where do we treat his commands as a suggestion instead of a command? Where do I teach this to people? We see it at times in great people. So we know we will have areas in our lives that we fail to. We need to follow him with integrity. Pray for those that treat his commands as a suggestion. Pray he forgives them. Ask him to give us humble hearts to acknowledge us, a clear mind to listen to his spirit speak, and a strong will to choose obedience. Let's continue reading, picking up at verse 21. You have heard that our ancestors were told, you must not murder. If you commit murder, you are subject to judgment. But I say, even if you are angry with someone, you are subject to judgment. If you call someone an idiot, you are in danger of being brought before the court. And if you curse someone, you are in danger of the fires of hell. So if you are presenting a sacrifice at the altar in the temple and you suddenly remember that someone has something against you, leave your sacrifice there at the altar. Go and be reconciled to that person. Then come and offer your sacrifice to God. When you are on the way to court with your adversary, settle your differences quickly. Otherwise, your accuser may hand you over to the judge, who will hand you over to an officer, and you will be thrown into prison. And if that happens, you surely won't be free again until you have paid the last penny. There is a lot here. First, murder is an issue of the heart. It starts with anger. God sees anger at others as more than the seeds of murder. It is murder. Watch out for anger in our hearts. Second, coming to God for blessing or forgiveness when we have caused offense to others. God says, forget it. I will not receive you. God is serious about this. When we cause others to be offended by us, not where they are offended at God because of his requirements, we need to deal with it quickly. Third, dealing with people who attack us. We will face these situations and we are never 100% right. Practice reconciliation based on truth and mercy rather than confrontation. It is a much better way. We all face situations where people do things to us that are not right. It is easy to get angry and speak harsh words and think harsh words. We need to change and not be like that. We know these situations will happen. We need to be a forgiving person in every one of them. We need to forgive them when they do or say evil things about us. We need to deal with our own faults and failures. We need to have a heart for reconciliation and mercy. Reconciliation will not be possible for everyone, but we need to want that for us. Thank you for joining us, and join us tomorrow as we continue our journey down the Via Dolorosa. God bless.